Hello and welcome back to Mate's Tottenham blog and to another Transfer Talk live stream. Tom, they're the words you're waiting for. We are good to go. Welcome Steve, Philip and Bruno to the stream as well. Bruno, a Benfica fan, saying Vinicius is a great get, which is very good. Always very good for us to hear. Tonight we're going to be talking about how Tottenham's pursuit of a striker finally looks to be over as Carlos Vinicius is waiting to walk in the door. We'll also have an update on our pursuit of Milan Skriniar as we're getting varying reports from a number of different sources about where that deal is currently at. We're also going to talk about Juan Foyth, who looks to finally be getting his move away from Tottenham in the coming week or so on loan rather than permanent as we had initially expected. And we'll be talking about a few more things as well, getting that lineup for a game against Maccabi Haifa very, very shortly is when we'll run through that one too. And before I get into all of that, if you are new to the channel and you do want more transfer talk like this, make sure to smash that subscribe button down below. As you can see, we have giveaways, collaborations, and a big charity stream coming up on Monday in aid of the Justin Edinburgh 3 Foundation. So make sure to pop in on Monday for that as well. We'll be doing a few small giveaways on that stream too, but of course, mainly keeping you up to date with everything happening on deadline day. Welcome as well, Delboy, Carl Clay, Steve Roughhead to the stream, and to dive straight into things with the good news we are getting on our pursuit of Carlos Vinicius, and it looks as though this one is very, very close to completion. As you can see there, Fabrizio Romano with his tweet earlier today saying Carlos Vinicius is joining Tottenham on loan, a €3 million loan fee with buy option, and he'll also sign a contract until 2025 if Spurs will buy him on a permanent deal next summer. So that permanent deal believes to be worth something around €45 million if we do want to make that permanent next summer. Romano saying Skriniar deal is stalling now, which we'll get into a bit more in a second. But he says, as Alistair Gold reported, Vinicius has been approved by Mourinho. So it's very encouraging to hear that Vinicius was apparently our number one striker target this transfer window. And as you can see here, absolutely outstanding record of late. We see he's a 25-year-old Brazilian striker who plays with Benfica. He had 37 goal contributions in all competitions last season, 24 goals, 13 assists. 18 of those goals came in the Liga NOS. And those numbers, I know it is, obviously the Liga NOS isn't the strongest league in the world, but they're very similar to the numbers that Bruno Fernandes was coming up with in that league before he did depart from Manchester United. So very encouraging. He's in great company there with the numbers he has pulled up in that league. He joined Benfica from Napoli only last summer for €17 million, but Benfica straight away put a €100 million release clause into his contract, so they could see the quality that he did have. So as we say, the deal that we've agreed is an initial loan deal worth €3 million with an option to buy on a 4-year deal next summer for €45 million. And he was Mourinho's number one choice for striker. He can also play in left wing as well. The other striker we've been talking about the last couple of days is, of course, Arkadiusz Milik, and he wanted to move to Tottenham. Napoli wanted him to go to Tottenham, but Jose Mourinho wasn't convinced that he would improve the team. And it's that mentality that we wanted Mourinho to bring into the club that he seems to have brought into the club. It's he wanted this number one player. He wasn't settling for anything less. He made sure that deal went out and got done. And as a few of you are saying there, Carl Calais is saying Vinicius is a done deal, only a work permit left to get, and it seems to be that's all we're waiting for at the moment. The player expects that work permit to come in tomorrow, and I assume that deal can be completed either tomorrow or over the weekend. I think this one will be done before the deadline, but whether or not we'll get the announcement before the deadline remains to be seen, of course. And then it's down to Milan Skriniar and whether or not we can get that one over the line. Now, the latest on this, as we've said, Fabrizio Romano said this deal is stalling, but there are a number of reports coming out from various sources around Europe suggesting that Tottenham have today tabled a £45 million bid, or a £44 million bid for Milan Skriniar. It's still a bit away from the valuation that Inter Milan have put on the player, but it's a lot closer to where we were with this deal. We haven't heard it from Romano yet, which is, of course, the one that we will be waiting for. We want to get the confirmation from him on this before we get too excited. But this does look like it's developing, and he is Mourinho's number one target for centre-back. We've heard that quite a way through the window. Antonio Rudiger is still a possibility, but he's purely there as a backup option to sign on loan if we fail to get Milan Skriniar over the line. Now, the game tonight against Maccabi Haifa could have a massive bearing on our pursuit of Skriniar, because if we are victorious tonight, we will receive a €15 million bonus for reaching the group stage of the Europa League, and that will really help fund that move for Skriniar. So I think tonight is a massive game, not only in terms of getting into Europe. It could be pivotal for us to get Milan Skriniar. Eamon Burns saying, will Dele ever play for us again? And I suppose the news that we can bring, judging from this post from the Spurs Twitter page 8 minutes ago, is Dele Alli, as expected, is back in the squad tonight And we have pictures here of him arriving at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. There's Stephen Bergwijn, Dele Alli, Joe Hart and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg at the stadium ready for this. Jose Mourinho arriving there at the ground as well, and just a few more faces there. Sissoko, Aurier and Ndombele arriving at the ground too. So Dele Alli, some updates on him today. According to, I think it was the Evening Standard, PSG did make a loan bid for Dele Alli this afternoon, worth about £1.5 million, which Tottenham immediately turned down, maintaining their stance that Alli will not be leaving the club this summer. It's very encouraging to see that he's back in the squad, and I suppose we got the reasoning for why he hasn't been in the team, and it's Jose Mourinho seems to have felt as though the rumours around Dele Alli's future were getting to him, as it would with any player, to be honest, and he thought it was best, I'd say, with Alli, his personality and his attitude, it's not the best for him to be in the limelight in a time like this. So Mourinho made a very clever decision to get him out of the limelight, and while it has kind of ignited the rumours even more, I think for the player it has been better. Mourinho's been talking about how professional Alli has been, how he's been trying so hard at training, and I think this could be a very good thing for Alli's career at Tottenham, and he could potentially have a bigger part to play in the season ahead than any of us had been thinking for the last few weeks. Alexander and Kieran, welcome along to the stream, to the two of you as well. So I think encouraging with Dele Alli on that front. And just as we're waiting this lineup from Spurs, talk a bit about Juan Foyth. And it's no secret he has been looking for a departure this summer. The club have been trying to get him out, and it looks as though finally he will be leaving, but only on a loan deal at the moment. I think Fulham were the team that were interested in signing him permanently, which I think excited everyone. Fulham, desperate need of some defenders. Tottenham, as I said, wanting to get Foyth out, Foyth wanting to leave himself. However, it looks as though a loan deal to Villarreal is now on the cards, and that's according to Charlie Eccleshare of the Athletic UK. And again, a number of other sources reporting that one as well. It's not the ideal scenario. No, we're still going to have to offload Foyth next season. But I know a few people were asking yesterday with regards to where we're standing with our homegrown player quota. And I saw a tweet from We Are Tottenham TV yesterday that summed it up perfectly. We're 3 players over the quota, so there are 3 players we do need to get rid of. And if we're bringing in Vinicius and Skriniar, perhaps then there's 2 more players we need to get out of there as well. But Foyth is a player that we've known would not be part of our squad this season. So that's one away. I think Gazaniga, another player who could potentially leave. We'll have to see where that one goes in the coming days as well. And I'm sure they'll find another player there. There's been a change in our Europa League squad for tonight. I think Juan Foyth has been removed from it very late. So that would suggest that that deal to Villarreal is all systems go at the moment for a season-long loan deal there for him. Carl saying Carlos Vinicius can play on the left wing as well. So can play instead of Son when he gets a rest, which is very true. That versatility that Vinicius offers, as Stormy Norman says, he's a 24 goal a season, or he scored 24 goals last season. Why would he want to play backup? And I think that's been a key part of Tottenham's pursuit of a striker this summer, is that it's not going to be a backup, it's a second choice striker, which sounds a bit contradictory, but he's going to be more of a rotation player than someone that's there just when Kane can't play. So Vinicius offers a lot more to us than players like Fernando Llorente, Vincent Janssen, Roberto Soldado have offered, because he can be there for rotation and not just for when Kane is injured. So I don't think he's going to be at the level where he will challenge Kane for first team football, but I think in a week like this it would have been perfect for him to feature against Chelsea on Tuesday, and then Harry Kane to play tonight against Maccabi Haifa, or vice versa, whichever way Mourinho would have preferred. And I know we're probably not going to have 4 games in a week again this season, but we're going to have some very hectic periods, and Vinicius is an outstanding addition to the squad who can offer a big help to us. Steve saying, I heard there was a meeting set up for Saturday between us and Milan to get this sorted once and for all. I haven't heard about that, but it wouldn't surprise me. We know Steve Hitchen has been in Milan meeting Skriniar's representatives to try and get this deal over the line. That was last week, but I think there will be a lot of movement on this one over the weekend, and I think we'll get our answer before deadline day. But if it is good news, we won't get the announcement until deadline day itself. Kieran saying, hey Matt, I can't wait the news about Skriniar. Let's hope, fingers crossed, we do get this one over the line. Alexander saying Dele needs to up his game if he wants to stay. Tiago saying, really don't think Dele is going to pull through with the performance, not trying to be negative. And look, that's not being negative. I think it's being realistic, looking at what Alli has provided on the pitch in recent weeks, in recent seasons. He hasn't been the player that we've come to know him as. His performances have been inconsistent. He's been sloppy in possession. He's been just poor all round, I suppose. Bruno, Benfica fan, saying, I believe Mourinho just wants to give Alli a shake. If he doesn't shape up, there are others, and the team is not dependent on his lack of consistency, which is very true. Where we have a lot more depth in our team at the moment than we've ever had before, to be honest. I think we're in a much better position than we ever were under Mauricio Pochettino in terms of squad depth and the ability to rotate. As we say, 20 players, 20 non-homegrown players in our squad, and of course that doesn't take into account Harry Kane, Dele Alli, and or other homegrown players as well. Steve saying Foyth, Gaza and Rose will be leaving, I heard permanently, but let's see. And that wouldn't surprise me to see Gazaniga and Danny Rose go out permanently. To be honest, I'm surprised Rose is actually still at the club, but at the moment it does look like Foyth will be a loan deal, and Kieran saying the same, Foyth perhaps permanently. Bradley Costello saying we look decent in the defence against Chelsea, but Skriniar would make that a scary defence, and we looked solid against Chelsea. Of course, they conceded that one goal, but it was, I suppose, an individual error from a player who was just kind of over enthusiastic on his first performance. But yeah, we do have a decent defence, but Skriniar coming into that would bring it up to that next level, and I think could be one of those players that we do need to get the team overall and the club to that next level and to winning trophies. Philip Wardle saying Vinicius can alternate between Kane and Son, so goodbye methinks, and I agree with you on that one. Tom Dock saying, given the homegrown player limits, should we just cut our losses on Fernandes and send him back to Benfica for the spot? And I think that's been something that people have been talking about, sending Jedson Fernandes back to Benfica, because he doesn't offer up much to us. He played on Tuesday against Chelsea, but was the first player taken out of the game for Pierre-Emile Højbjerg to be introduced. And he hasn't offered much. We have that option for, I think, £56 million or €56 million to buy him next summer. I can't imagine that one is going to be activated. And at the moment, if we don't get 3 or 4 of our actual players out, I think it could be a good idea to let Jedson go back to Benfica. I know there's been Benfica fans who've been saying, as Bruno Vieira here saying, Carlos Vinicius was a great buy for us, but it was certainly very different noise coming out of them when we did bring Jedson in. Espen Anderson saying Mourinho was Levy's prestige project and he's now putting up funds saved over years to make it work. Gotta love it. And we've been waiting for this for quite a while, and I think there is still going to be an element of disappointment that we didn't see the sort of investment under Mauricio Pochettino. But if you're asking for which manager can you almost guarantee a return on this investment with, you would have to point towards Mourinho rather than Pochettino. A whole lot of Spurs saying hopefully Skriniar comes. Delboy saying Dele on the bench tonight, and I would assume he is on the bench. I don't think we've got the official team just yet, and we actually have in the last couple of minutes coming from of course the Tottenham Twitter, and I'm going to try and get this up in the stream here in a second if I can figure this one out. Just 2 minutes there. It is Dele Alli on the bench again tonight, as you say. Not much of a surprise really on that one, that he was back in the squad, and I think personally I wouldn't have expected him to be straight back into that starting 11, but it is a very, very strong team tonight, which I suppose we expected to judge it by Mourinho's comments in the last couple of days, and just nearly there and getting this lineup up. What Mourinho has had to say in the last couple of days, and the kind of, I wouldn't say the poor team we saw against Chelsea, but it was a weakened starting 11, there's no doubt about that. And it's good to see such a strong lineup tonight. And if I can get this up here, we'll have it in a moment. So it is Joe Hart starting in goal, which isn't much of a surprise either, with Lloris playing against Chelsea on Tuesday. And there we have the team. It's Joe Hart starting in goal. It's a back four of Matt Doherty, Davinson Sanchez, Toby Alderweireld and Ben Davis. We have Pierre-Emile Højbjerg starting in the midfield pivot with Harry Winks and Lo Celso, Bergwijn and Lucas behind Harry Kane. So against Maccabi Haifa, you would have to assume that is going to be that's going to be enough to get the win in that one and see us through to the group stage of the Europa League. As I say, coming with a €50 million financial bonus, which could be the make or break on this Milan Skriniar deal. And of course on the bench we've Hugo Lloris, Serge Aurier, Sergio Reguilon after making his debut on Tuesday. We've Moussa Sissoko. Thank you Wheatbix100 for subscribing. Moussa Sissoko, Tanguy Ndombele, Dele Alli and Eric Lamela there on the bench as well. No surprise that Eric Dyer isn't in the squad after playing 2 games in 48 hours earlier in the week. So a very strong lineup, and one that certainly should be enough to beat Maccabi Haifa tonight. Charles Fernandez saying, I think the future looks really bright for Spurs, especially if we get these 2 new signings. And I absolutely agree with you. I think we're in a very, very, very good position if we can get these signings over the line in the next couple of days. Now, before I go on and read some more comments, I want to thank you. There's 230 people in the stream right now. If you are new to the channel and you do want more content like this, including transfer videos and general Tottenham analysis videos, I have a massive stream coming up on Monday. We'll be going for the whole of deadline day in aid of the Justin Edinburgh 3 Foundation, so raising funds for them. We'll be bringing on a few guests. We are Tottenham TV, Chris Cowlin, Lee the Dorset Spur, Charlie THFC, and a number of others coming on the stream on Monday. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. And we'll be doing a few small giveaways on the day as well, so make sure you stick around for that. Carl and Bradley saying, I thought Jedson played decent against Chelsea. Ronnie, hi Matt, look forward to your stream on Monday, but we are Tottenham TV. We should have gone for Dembele from Barca on loan. And look, Ousmane Dembele is a fantastic player, but his injury record is absolutely dreadful. He's, I think he missed the majority of last season. He was out for a couple of months. He came back, and in his first game, he got an even worse injury. It was out for another couple of months. His injury record is absolutely appalling. Thank you, Julius, for subscribing there as well. And Dembele as well doesn't want to leave Barcelona. He's turned down a loan move from Liverpool, a permanent deal from Juventus, and more recently a loan deal from Man United as well. So I'm not sure it would have been a good signing for us, but it wouldn't have happened anyway, because he does want to stay at Barcelona. Kieran saying, can't see Tottenham paying 50 million for Jedson for a young player. If Spurs are going to pay 40 million for Skriniar, there's no way we'll pay 50 million for Jedson. And I agree, and I think it's not even the fact that he's young, but that he's been very, very poor since he did come into the club. He hasn't offered us much on the pitch, and he's really struggled for game time, and so much that he's almost been changed into a right back to try and get him into the first team, which of course hasn't worked out for him either. Thank you, Feliciano, for subscribing as well. All of you coming in right now, I do really appreciate it. As I said, smash that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 3,500 before the end of the window. We initially set our goal at 3,000, but as you can see, we've smashed that, and we're just 200 away now from 3,500. So please help us reach that goal. A few people asking about Antonio Rudiger, Football Life King, saying, would you take Rudiger if we don't get Skriniar? Kieran saying, I wouldn't take Rudiger. Bradley saying the same. I think it's not the ideal scenario for us to end up with Antonio Rudiger, and personally, as I said from day one in this, I wouldn't like to see him come in, but I think it's better than nothing, to be honest. I know there is that moral issue, and of course what he did to us last year with these accusations of racism, which according to the police investigation were turned to be unfounded. Thank you, Femi, for subscribing as well. I think there will be a lot of people against that move, but at the end of the day, we need a defender, and if he is the option that we have to go for, I'd rather him than no one, to be honest. JS saying Bergwijn needs to impress today, hasn't done enough lately. Kevin Ide saying we're going to play this in first gear, going to be a boring watch, but we will go through, which I agree. And look, with the fixture congestion we do have, I think that's the ideal scenarios for us right now. We would like to see attacking football, but it's just not a viable option at the moment. Alexander Hilton saying, why can't we just sell Ben Davis and start Sessegnon? It seems as though Sessegnon is going to be loaned out this summer, and I think, to be honest, at the moment, I think Ben Davis is better than Sessegnon. Sessegnon has really struggled for first team football lately, and while we would like to see him get more game time, I think a loan move for him is probably the best option at the moment, and hopefully he can, in the coming years, he can be a better first team player for us. Charles Fernandez saying, keep the videos coming, love them. Fahad saying, Tottenham fan from Toronto here, thanks for the amazing coverage. Jonathan Atkinson saying, again, Matt knows stats. Lowry saying, hello Matt, been watching since last year and love the videos, keep up the great work. Thank you all of you for your lovely comments. Merrick saying, we should sell Dele and create funds for Skriniar. I think there will be a few fans that would be in agreement with you on that one, but it does look as though we want to keep Dele Alli, and personally I would agree with keeping him for now. I think he's still young. He's only 22 or 23. I think he has the time to turn this around, and he still has 3 or 4 years before he gets into his prime. So I think it would be silly to cut our losses on him just yet. Anthony Gonzalez saying, do you think we should have got Suarez from Barcelona? He was 5 million. I don't think we would have got him for 5 million. I think it's just weird the way they do business over in Spain. It seems as though they prefer to deal with each other, and I think Atletico getting him for 5.5 million, I don't think it would have been the same for us, but also I'm not sure if it would have been the right fit. Stephen Flynn saying I wouldn't take Rudiger. Alexander Hintel saying Tanganga is better than Rudiger. Brad Says saying I'd want a Rudiger apology to Sonny if he is coming. Kieran saying I'd rather take no one than taking Rudiger. JS saying watch all the Spurs channels, really like this guy and his info, keep up the good work. Thank you very much for that. Brad Says saying Davis is a long-standing great squad player. Stephen asking what station is the Spurs game on, and I'm not sure, to be honest. I'll be watching it on a stream tonight. I don't know if it is on any UK channels, to be honest, but if it is on one of them, it will be BT Sport. Neil saying, really must keep Dele. Every top player gets a dip in form, and he is still a young man, and not too many better than him when he regains that form, in my opinion. And I fully agree with you on that one, Neil. As I said, he's still a young player, and he still has so much time to develop, and he's so much to learn as well. I think we will see better from him in the next couple of years than we have ever seen, hopefully. Gary Shaw asking any news on Gazzaniga, and at the moment there isn't. Look, he hasn't been in our squad yet this season. I'd be very, very surprised if he is still a Spurs player by the end of the window. There was talk earlier in the window that Aston Villa were interested in him, but of course they've since gone and bought Emi Martinez from Arsenal. So I think it's rather surprising that there has been such little news on the Gazzaniga front, but I think we will see a resolution to this in the next couple of days. Laura is saying, what do you think about Skriniar? I'm a massive fan of Milan Skriniar, and I'd love to see him come into the club this window. Diego saying Dele Alli not even in starting 11. Charles Fan is saying the game, and Ronnie as well saying the game is on Premier Sport. 9 Ether King saying Matty Hayes has got his own Sky Sports News set up. Well done, geezer. And it's just obviously not as professional as Sky Sports. A few bits I threw together, hoping it's better than just my own head in the video. Ronnie David saying should have signed Bruno Fernandes last year. I agree with you on that one. Gurney October saying front line is looking good. Do you think our front line will be better? Will be better than Liverpool's with Ali included? I don't think so. I think Liverpool still far and away have the best front line in the Premier League at the moment, with Mane and Salah, of course, and Firmino. I know he splits opinion, but if Klopp keeps on picking him, if people like Pochettino are saying he's the best striker in the league and getting so much praise from so many football managers, I would have to assume they can see something that we don't and trust their opinion more than ours. But I'd say we do have a very good front line at the moment, but I wouldn't put it best in the league just yet. Alexander Hilton saying, when is the Carabao Cup? The draw for the Carabao Cup quarter-final will be tonight between 9:30 and 10 after tonight's Carabao Cup game. So around the time we'll be finishing up at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, we'll get that draw. And also the quarter-finals will be played on the 22nd and 23rd of December. So just under a 3-month wait for those ones. Craig Potter saying, personally don't think Davis is at our level. Of course, personal preference, think we need to keep all our keepers as all are decent and good for rotation. And I agree with you on that one, but it seems to be a homegrown player quota issue at the moment, bringing in Hart instead of Paulo Gazzaniga. Ian Collins saying Premier 1 channel tonight, hoping to watch on a YouTube stream from a foreign channel. Andreas saying the dream will be Milik and Skriniar for me. Seems expensive, but I think it is worth it. Milik is proven in Europe too. Feel unsure about Vinicius. And look, I know the links with Carlos Vinicius have been there throughout the whole window. I personally didn't believe them because they were coming from kind of unreliable sources, and I didn't quite look into him. So I was saying for me, my number 1 striker choice was Belotti, 2 was Milik, and then beyond that I wasn't sure because I thought we'd get one of them. But look, Vinicius is Tottenham's number 1 choice. He's coming from a league that Jose Mourinho knows very, very, very well, and that he'll have an eye for seeing the players out of that league that will do very well abroad. It's obviously massive feelings about him in Benfica, that he has a €100 million release clause, 37 goal contributions last season as a striker to score 24 goals and then go on and get 13 assists. It does show he's more than a goal scorer, and while he is unheard of and he's unproven at the level that we do need him at, I think again we just have to trust Mourinho's judgment over our own. And I'm delighted with this signing because it is Mourinho's number 1 target, even though it wouldn't have been my number 1 choice. The fact that Mourinho wanted him, I think that says all we need to know. Mohammed saying Sessegnon should get more game time on the wing, better on the wing instead of the defence. Manish saying Dele's 24, so it's a bit off there. Blake saying, if you weren't to get Skriniar, who would you take for centre back? I suppose the only other option at the moment is Rudiger. The only other player I've been linked to is Rudiger, and as I said, I'd take that over anyone. But ideally I would have liked maybe Kim and Jay, but it doesn't look as though that's going to be happening at the moment. Kieran saying, yeah, but Milik is injury prone, which Spurs don't want. He's had 2 anterior cruciate ligaments in his career. Laura is saying, Matt, when are you gonna work for Sky Sports? And hopefully sometime in the future I will. But for now, I'm sat here in my bedroom talking to you guys, which of course I absolutely do love, and I really do appreciate all your support on the channel. Mohammed saying Sessegnon should get more game time, better. We've read that one. Pavel saying, I'm sorry, but I just can't watch Ben Davis. I'm so glad we've got Sergio now. Let's admit Davis is not a great defender and doesn't give us too much in the front. And thank you, Navin, for subscribing. I think Ben Davis is a good defender, but as you say, he doesn't offer as much going forward as someone like Reguilon would. And I think that, and having 2 very, very different left backs, gives us the ability to play 2 different systems. If you want to play a 3 at the back, we can have Ben Davis sitting in as a left centre back. If we want to play that kind of lopsided 4 at the back, again, Davis can play left back and fill in more defensively. But if we do want to play an attacking 4 at the back with Højbjerg dropping in between the defenders and then 2 full-backs pushing on, or if we want to play a 3/5 at the back and have just 2 attacking wing-backs, we can do that with Reguilon. So it's good that we have 2 very different left backs. I'm still happy to have Davis in the squad. I'd rather him over Danny Rose, but I am quite happy to have the 2 of them there. And I know he's definitely not as good as Reguilon, but he is a good player to have on our squad. Jonathan saying, Matt, are you going live next week, Monday, with expressions? I haven't got expressions on the stream just yet. I am trying to get him on, but for now, it doesn't look as though he will be, unfortunately. Laura Leak saying, any news about Son and his injury? Jose Mourinho said he could feature against Man United on Sunday, but his great news, it's if he doesn't feature against United, he will be back after the international break for the game against West Ham. Gary Shaw saying, bring on Arsenal in the next round. Anthony saying, what do you think the score will be tonight? I think a comfortable win tonight, especially after seeing that lineup. And just to run through it once more, this lineup for the game against Maccabi Haifa, we have Joe Hart starting in goal. It's a back four of Matt Doherty, Davinson Sanchez, Toby Alderweireld and Ben Davis. We've Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and Harry Winks in the midfield pivot. Then it's Giovanni Lo Celso, Stephen Bergwijn and Lucas Moura playing behind Harry Kane. So a very strong lineup, and as we've been seeing the whole way through this competition, Jose Mourinho very keen to get us through to the group stage of the Europa League. Sam saying, I think Dele's issues are 1, his fitness. He's been looking so sloppy and sluggish for a while now. 2, playing out of position doesn't fit in with our system since Kane's dropping deeper. And 3, mentality. And I agree with you on that one, no doubt. Alexander saying, Firmino's overrated. He's the same level as Dele Alli. Neil saying, any win and I'm a happy crappy. Lee Morgan talking about Dele's aggressiveness there as well. 9 King saying, I think I'd be happy if we signed Quaison or Vinicius because our next potential striker needs raw pace. Milik is not quick like Llorente. A pacey replacement for Kane would be frightening. Neil saying, sorry, I meant happy. Yeah, I think Quaison, if I'm not mistaken, plays in the Bundesliga. Robin Quaison with, I'm thinking, Union Berlin. He plays for Mainz in the Bundesliga. Not an option I've really thought about, not one I've heard, but he's a decent striker. He does score goals, and he could be a good player in that he's pacey, but he's also big and he's physical. But for now, it looks like it is Carlos Vinicius, which, look, is a really, really good signing. Brad says, saying, I think it's extremely positive to see us having quality backup in most positions and still trying to fill the rest. This is why we need to keep Dele, Davis and Lamela, who's been fantastic. Lamela, I agree, he's not there's no doubt he's not the best quality player we have on our team by any stretch of the imagination, but he brings something to our team that a lot of people don't, and that's why I would have voted him as my man of the match against Chelsea on Tuesday, because he's, he'd run after the ball for 90 minutes and he won't get tired. He won't pull out of challenges and he'll give his all for the team, even if it's not the best quality when he does get on the ball. Stephen Flynn saying, Matt, you said you're watching match. What stream is best for the Spurs match? I get streams through work. I work in a company that analyses soccer matches, so I get streams through that. I wouldn't be too sure about other streams to get. Cody Smith saying, I can see you getting big time, bro. Best of luck. Thank you very much, Cody. Lee Morgan saying, after media lambasted him for aggression, Dele changed as a player. Mourinho said he likes aggressive players. And yeah, look, Dele Alli, he has changed a bit as a player. And of course, he has matured. He has to mature. I think the way he's kind of tamed and calmed down, I think, has taken that kind of edge off of his game, which, look, that could be playing a part in his decline in form in the last couple of years. But he's going to have to learn to adapt and adjust and get the best out of himself as a different type of player. Because as he gets older, I know obviously he's still only getting into the prime of his career, but every player is going to have to learn how to adjust. And Scott Simmons, thank you very much for subscribing. And Ali just needs to learn how to be the best he can without being that aggressive player that he used to be. Manish saying, if we also get Skriniar, what would be a good season for us? And I think if we do get Skriniar and Vinicius over the line, I think it has to be top 4 in the trophy. And look, maybe the Carabao Cup would do, but I'm talking Europa League or FA Cup. I think we're strong enough now to go on and compete for these trophies. I think top 4 should be a given with the signings we brought in already and the signings we're looking to be bringing in for the rest of the window. But I think trophy is the next step for us. Crimson asking, can Reguilon be our Andy Robertson? And I certainly think he can. Pavel saying, thanks, I can agree he's not a bad defender in terms of attacking. We've seen what Sergio can give us. Co-star saying, give us from Milan. Thank you, Vitalogian, for subscribing as well. Darren Hiller asking, who do you prefer to work for, Sky Sports or BBC Sports? I'd say Sky Sports personally. I think they're the number one out there. So look, that's the dream. Haas saying, come on, you Spurs, let's get behind the team. And if Jose has chosen a signing and it was his number 1 target, then great. And I agree with you. That's all we can ask for. The manager himself getting his number 1 choice. Camigello saying, what is your score prediction, Matt? I'm going to go for a 3-0 win tonight. I think back on home soil will be a big benefit, a big advantage for the team as well. And as I said, a very, very strong team. So I think we'll get a comfortable 3-0 win tonight. Andreas saying, thoughts on the Dyer suspension and what that will mean for the team for the next couple of games. And I wasn't actually aware that Dyer had been suspended. Thank you, Co-Star, for subscribing there as well. Is Eric Dyer suspended? I hadn't heard that at all. I'll look into that there for a second. Um, Peter saying, whomever we sign, if it's from a European team, we need to get it done well before Monday for registration of the players so they can compete for us in European competitions. Yeah, as we figured out yesterday, they do need to be registered before the 5th of October, or before the 6th of October if they do want to take part in the Europa League this season. So as you say, we need to get them done fairly swiftly. Larroy saying, I think Hart will be a solid second choice keeper. Carl Calleja saying, Arsenal and Leicester are our biggest threats in the UEFA Europa League, and whoever drops like United, Leipzig, Atalanta or Ajax. That is very true, and it's something I haven't quite thought about. I've been looking at our opponents in the Europa League. I think Napoli are a big threat to us, Roma as well, but I actually haven't thought about those teams that could be dropping down, and there's a few groups of death in the Europa League today. I saw PSG, Man United and RB Leipzig all drawn in the same group, so more than likely one of them will be dropping down to the Europa League. That would be a big threat for us in that one. Pranav asking what's the probability of Skriniar joining. I'd say it's 50-50 at the moment. Fabrizio Romano saying the deal is stalling, but a number of other sources saying there has been a bid put in by Tottenham today. Brad says they're not suspended for Dyer being rested. Got me a bit worried there that we had a suspension for him. He needs the rest. Played 2 full games earlier in the week. He needs the rest, and I don't think it'll affect us too much, to be honest. Robert saying, one aspect of Lamela I feel confident about is his time-killing dribble, especially in the corners. As a sub, he can take 10 minutes to finish the match and make to 0. Peter saying, I'm glad to hear Juan Foyth is only a loan because I think he can become a real decent central defender and can, I believe, be turned into a right-back. Ross saying, are we going to be missing something in defence still with Sergio and Doherty pushing up so high? And I wouldn't say so. I think we've seen from Højbjerg so far this season that he does drop in between those two centre-backs. So when Reguilon and Doherty do push on a lot, it will essentially still be at least a 3 in the back. So I don't think we lose too much with that. Robert saying, Dele potential is far too great to sell him. Right now, loaning out players is a great way to raise funds. Spurs 12 saying, some people are saying we are waiting to get the money from tonight. Yet I do think that is the case as well. We get €50 million if we do progress to the Europa League group stage tonight. So hopefully that will help us get that Skriniar deal over the line. As we know, this Carlos Vinicius deal only costing us €3 million this summer on an initial loan deal for him, and it would be €45 million if we do want to sign him next summer. So I think win tonight, and I think that will sway the Skriniar deal very, very much in our direction. Laura is saying Tanganga, Parrott and Skip will all be world class. The Blackfeather saying Inter are trying to ramp up the price, just comes down to whether we are willing to pay big money for him. And Inter's argument, which you can't debate at all, is that they do need a replacement for him. So they're trying to get that as much money as they can in order to sign a replacement. They identified Nikola Milenkovic from Fiorentina very early on, but I'm not sure if that's looking too likely at the moment. Thank you, Matey, for subscribing. Now look, that is all we have time for in this stream today. Tottenham kicking off in about 40 minutes. Let's run through this lineup one more time. It is Joe Hart starting in goal with Matt Doherty, Sanchez, Alderweireld and Davis playing at the back. We have Højbjerg and Winks in midfield, Celso, Bergwijn, Lucas and Kane, and then a bench of Lloris, Aurier, Reguilon, Sissoko and Dembele, Dele and Lamela. Thank you very much, Louis, there for subscribing. And thank you very much to everyone who has subscribed throughout the stream. As I said, if you do want more of this content, including videos and a massive charity stream coming up next Monday for Deadline Day in aid of the Justin Edinburgh 3 Foundation, we're doing some giveaways on that stream as well. Please go ahead and smash that subscribe button down below. If you have enjoyed the stream, please give it a big thumbs up. There's almost 250 of you there. If you could all smash that thumbs up button, it would really help me out a lot. So thank you very much for that. James Fernandez saying, really well put together stream, fair play mate, stay safe. Thanks James, I do appreciate that. And thank you to everyone who has joined. I hope you have enjoyed the stream. I hope you learned something about the Spurs transfer business that you hadn't